Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Tablizo again from the Algebra 1 team. We're going to continue our conversation with working with positive and negative integers. This time, we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. Okay? Now we're going to start with a multiplication table. Okay? I know you guys probably have this memorized already, but I've added it here for the sake of simplicity. Okay? So once again, just like last video, let's examine some examples, and then that way we can figure out the rules for multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. Let's start out with a situation when both of the numbers are positive. So positive 3 times positive 5, positive 3 times positive 5 gives you a positive 15. So multiplying two positive numbers gives you a positive answer. Now, what about when you divide two positive numbers? Okay, so here's 15 divided by 5, okay, gives you 3. Okay, so positive 15 divided by a positive 5 gives you a positive 3. So our rule is that when you're multiplying or dividing and you have two positive numbers, your answer, your product will be positive, and your quotient, the result of your dividing, will also be positive. Okay, so to keep track of that, whenever I have two positives, my answer will be positive. Okay, let's look at a situation when one is positive and one is negative. In this case, I multiply positive 3 times negative 5. So as you can see, 3 times 5, that's still 15. But because one of the numbers is negative, it influences the product, the answer, to be negative as well. Here, same thing. 3 and 5 are still 15, but because the 3 is negative, while the 5 is positive, one of them is negative, the final answer, the product, is negative. And it looks like that rule applies to division as well. If I have 14 divided it by 2, I get a 7. But because the 2 is negative in our situation, 14 divided by a negative 2, the answer, instead of being just a plain old 7, is going to be a negative 7. Okay, same thing here. If I start out with 18 divided by 3, the answer is 6. But because the 18 was negative while the 3 was positive, the final answer is a negative 6. Okay, notice in this case, it doesn't matter which one was negative or which one was bigger, right? As long as one of them is negative. Here the 5 is bigger, doesn't matter. Here the 3 is smaller, doesn't matter. Same for the 14 and 2 and 18 and the 3, doesn't matter. As long as you're multiplying or dividing, one is positive, one is negative, the answer is going to be negative. Okay? And we wrote that here. If I have a positive first number and a negative second number, it's a negative answer. If the situation was reversed, my first number was negative, second number was positive, whether I'm multiplying or dividing, the answer will be negative. Okay? So finally, let's take a look at what happens when you multiply or divide two negative numbers. In this case, 4 and 5, when I multiply them, 4, 5, it's still 20. But notice what happens. It looks like two negative numbers, when multiplied, gives you a positive answer. By the same token, whenever I have two numbers being divided, a negative 20 divided by a negative 4, two negative numbers being divided, right? That means I get a positive answer. And we wrote that down here. Whenever I have two negative numbers being multiplied or divided, the answer is positive. Okay, hopefully that's a quick review for you guys. Hopefully you learned that in middle school, and we're now just refreshing your memory about the rules for multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers.